been expecting you. Welcome back, guys, especially if you're new. I'm sure we've got some first timers joining us here today and people from Christchurch and Thanga. You're super welcome. And I'm going to get right into it because I'm sure you're keen to hear about how the Zeal Appeal is going. Now, if you missed last time on Wednesday, we were doing something called the Zeal Appeal, where we're trying to raise money for people in Shire who might not be able to stand on their own feet in the coming weeks. And we've already got a plan on how we're going to be able to get food to them, perhaps blankets. So we've got a plan going forward on how it's going to work. We just need the money now. And we've raised some. We're aiming for 5 grand, and so far we've got 1,200 rand. So we're getting there. And for you visual folks, I figured we'd come up with a way to show you how much that is. So you see, the candle has kind of become a symbol of fighting the coronavirus, hasn't it? So we're going to show you with the candle how far we've got. So I'm going to cut off what we've done so far. See these scissors? It's not really exciting enough though, so maybe I should use this. Okay, you ready to find out how far we've got? You know, actually, we really want to make this exciting. We use the sword. Okay, so 5,000 rand is what we're aiming for. So far we've got 1,200 rand. We've got 1,200 rand so far. We've got this much to go. So please consider giving to the cause. Now, there are 3 reasons you might be able to. One is you get pocket money. So if you get pocket money, why not help those in need if you've got some extra lying around that you feel moved to give. 2, it might be the money that you've worked for. I started working in grade 8, so throughout high school I had money that I could give to Shire. So maybe you're like that. Maybe you have a job that you work for money. And the third one is maybe you don't get either of those, but if you ask your parents, they can give you stuff. Like you see something you really want, you just ask them, hey, can I please get that thing? Why don't you ask them if they can donate to the Zeal Appeal? You don't have to be the one to physically put the money into the bank account. Your parents can do it. If they've got something lying around that you think it's really important that they help out those in need. The link is in the description down below. If you scroll past the chat, I hope you're chatting. I hope there are plenty of comments about the kitten in the chat, or the kittens. It feels like there are 40 of them because they're so hyperactive. So the link is in the description down there. So yeah, please do consider giving to those in need. And lastly, I won't talk about this much because Nick is going to talk about this a bit more. We have a book club. We have, I think, 4 books. I think it's 2 for the boys, 2 for the girls. And we're going to be going through those 4 books. Speak to your leader if you want to figure out how you can get a book, if you want to link to it or something. But Nick is really going to push that. So I'm going to leave it up to him. And that's all from me. Cheers, guys.
Hi guys, we are back with, what is it called?
Convos on the couch.
Convos on the couch. Can I give you a Corona high five?
Corona bump, yeah.
There we go. Cheers, matey.
Cheers.
Nice and warm.
Yeah.
Guys, good to see you again. So, Brian Michael, how's the lockdown been going? Very quickly.
Stressful, but trusting Jesus every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a bit of a fitness thing yesterday, didn't we?
We did.
You know, 5 at 5.
Yeah.
We ran the stairs 5 times.
Yeah.
Mike, how many did you do?
I did 100% of what I intended to do.
Which was how many?
Which was 1
plus
set. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Yeah. So that many times.
He's lying.
That is what we did.
How are your legs feeling?
Sore but good.
Good, man.
Yeah.
Good, nice. It's an honor to train with you.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry about that, guys. So here's my question. Remember, we had to get Mike uncomfortable.
Okay.
All right, we want you to sweat.
Okay.
So high school, we've been watching Riverdale.
Great. High school. Okay.
Okay, here's my question: is in high school, what was it like having red hair? Like, I just remember my body image. My two of my best friends were both played first team rugby. They were athletes. They had six packs, and I always just feel really insecure around them. So tell me about red hair.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Is it real hair?
It is real. It is
Okay.
real.
And there's no dark roots or anything.
There's nothing to touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red hair. Yeah, I guess. So I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
And so the story kind of depicts the change that took place in my attitude towards it. And so I think that high school is an insecure time for everybody, and that there's always something. Kids at school, we all suck in the sense that we all are very good at picking up on one thing that stands out about somebody, or something that doesn't even stand out.
They used to call me Nick Hips Houston because my chest hadn't grown yet.
So
And so I had these hips, but my chest didn't go anyway. So I know it, yeah.
Yeah, we're all good at that.
You
And
get
so,
labelled.
Yeah, I was guilty of it, and then other people did. Yeah. Obviously, the thing that stands out for me is the red hair. And so, yeah, there were nicknames that came along with it. But so I'll zoom in. So there was one thing that we did at school, which was called Punch a Ginger, which I shifted into Ginger Punch. And so basically, whenever you see a ginger, you were able to punch someone. Originally it was the ginger, but I told them, Oaks, if you do that, then the gingers die and then the game ends. So you got to punch somebody else, otherwise not fun. Anyway, so that's a bit of context. And the other context that's important is we did this thing every year. I think it was in grade 11, called Steady Stars. So our school is called Stenenberg. And so Steady Stars was kind of a fun, voluntary kind of competition where everybody gets a sheet and you vote for stuff. Okay. So you vote for Mrs. Legs, blackest black person, reddest redhead. Like, you can't do this stuff now. But
funniest teeth.
Biggest
hips.
No, that wasn't there. But like love triangles.
But I mean examples of love triangles.
Love triangle was there.
So what does that mean? Like there's a boyfriend and a girlfriend and then there's somebody else.
It was very awkward because they had broken up in between. Okay. So people would vote for them, but it was all in good humor.
Okay.
If you didn't want your name there, you go to the grade head, you got it taken off, and so everybody that was taking part in it was happy to be part of it. There was no maliciousness attached. It was quite a beautiful thing, actually. And so one of the things was reddest redhead.
Okay.
And so grade 11 comes along, and I'm like, oh, okay, a few oaks in my class are voting for me. That's cool. Yeah. And so I think it was it was a kind of awards night. Anyway, so I attend. And so they're calling out the nominations for reddest redhead.
Yeah.
Say the first guy, Vanna. There's some cheers.
So let's picture this. Vanna.
Some cheers. I can't remember the two other guys' names. The next guy, some more cheers. The next guy, some more cheers. And they say my name.
Okay, so there are four of you.
There's four of us, in the finals. And then they say my name, and there's this roar from the crowd.
They go nuts.
I couldn't believe it. They were like cheering. And they were like, yeah, obviously he won. And they invited me up on stage. And I was...
Why do you think you won? Did you have the reddest hair?
Probably because by grade 11, so this is where the story comes in, I was quite insecure about my hair by grade 8, 9, 10. And so what that means is, obviously, high schoolers, when they smell weakness or fear, they zone in more. And so because of that, I probably got the most flack for my hair, which meant I was the most well-known about it. But it also meant that I had made it part of my personality at that time. So like when we would pose as a hockey team, we would take funny photos, and I would get down on the ground and they would all warm their hands over my hair. And that was part of it, exactly. So by grade 10, 11, 12, I was learning to just make it a part of my life and who I was. And so I won reddest redhead, and then I changed the rules for the game. Okay. So because I won, when you see me, it's 2 punches for other people. So I remember walking down the passages and just hearing... It was such fun.
So were they still allowed to punch you?
No.
Because you were the king redhead?
Other people. So you see a redhead, you get to punch somebody else. I was very strict on that rule.
So you don't even punch a redhead?
I changed the rule. I changed and enforced the change.
I thought they could punch other redheads except you.
No, so it started as punch a ginger, and then I changed it to ginger punch, which means a ginger
gets to punch someone else.
It's like punch bug. You see a punch bug, you some punch someone.
Okay.
And so, through that story, it's just a picture of going from kind of insecure about something to embracing it and being okay with the way God has made me. Yeah.
And to actually being empowered in it in a way, and owning it, like you said. So, were there any things like, were there any people or any truths that kind of helped you why were you like that?
Yeah, I don't know. So
because a lot of us would just get depressed.
Yeah.
And we kind of just, I don't know, just in our rooms and think that we're worthless and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think there was no one big moment, no one big conversational sentence. I guess it was just being brought up in a Christian home. I had that biblical view of myself. So in the Psalms it says, "You're fearfully and wonderfully made."
Yeah, I think it's Psalm 139. Right?
Yeah. And so I had that as a foundation. It's that, and it's a whole bunch of other verses as well. But I'm wonderfully made. So I never doubted, why do I have red hair? Oh, I want to change my hair. Oh, I should diet and be less obvious or anything like that. I never doubted it because I just had that foundation. So, and that's so helpful. So it was still tough, and I started to learn to grow confidence. But having that foundation meant that the anxiety about why am I this way, that question was answered. The should I change, or whose fault is it? All those questions were answered because, no, I'm made wonderfully.
So you made wonderfully. What do you think the fearfully side means?
Fearfully, I don't really know. So
I've got an idea. Can I share it with you?
Go for it.
Do you mind?
Go for it.
So this is what I picture for fearfully. Is if you think of someone who's big, like God, working on something that's small, like us. If he was in his workshop, we were kind of in a vice, and we put there on the table, and he's working on us. And it's almost like we're so small and delicate, and that he's so scared in a really caring way that he's got to wire us together in just the right way. Careful, fearful, and puts us together. So that's we look wonderful.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah,
and so
every little bit of us is, like you say, exactly the way God
made us,
wanted us to be.
And
it's a little bit of sin that's tarnished things because we're in a broken world. But God still knew that, and He's in control of it.
You got to figure out how to deal with your pimples and all that other stuff.
Jesus had pimples.
Probably. Highly likely. Yeah.
Highly likely he had pimples.
And so
God had pimples. Isn't that amazing? God had pimples. I wonder if God would have squeezed these pimples.
Oh, don't go there, Nick. Don't go. Anyway.
No, but it's a thought, man. Okay, sorry.
Oh.
Okay, we got 1 or 2 minutes. So that's really helpful, though.
Yeah. So that's a small story about kind of my struggle, but how a biblical perspective gave me a foundation.
I think it's helpful. It's are we viewing ourselves through the lens of the Bible? I know it sounds a little bit clunky for some people and dry and boring, but it is how we're viewing ourselves just through our own eyes, or actually it's awesome when we look at ourselves through God's eyes. And we always tend to think that's a negative thing, like judgment and punishment and all that.
No, so God has nothing but love for His children. So Jesus took every drop of God's wrath. So God feels nothing for me but love, which is amazing. And my body's fallen and broken and a mess, but it's also fearfully and wonderfully made.
So as you get older, maybe last little question. Do you still have insecurities? Do you still struggle with the way you look from time to time?
I mean, it didn't feel great to see you being able to run upstairs when I was exhausted. But I mean, luckily that's something I could change if I put my mind to it. But sometimes there's stuff we can't change. But even in that, there's the good news that this body right now is fearfully and wonderfully made. Then there's the even better future hope that I'm going to get a new body. I'm going to get a new body, a new perfect body. And I love this verse. It says in Corinthians,
quickly, Mike.
It says that our bodies now, compared to our bodies in heaven, will be like a seed compared to the flower. So it's the same thing, that this is just a seed compared to the flower. And I love that verse. So
the best is actually yet to come.
Amen.
So if you think you look good now,
or if you don't look good now, better yet to come.
Way better. Cool. Mike, awesome hanging out with you. Can we do a cheers?
Definitely.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
And see you next time. Ciao.
Yeah. See you then. Bye.
Hey guys, wasn't that awesome hanging out with Michael Brown? He's always got interesting things to say. And I love the way he kind of sits on his hands on his chest like this. Yeah, so cute, very cute. Cool. Well, listen, here's the question from the crowd. One of you asked this question. How do I ask God for forgiveness? How do I ask God for forgiveness? It's a brilliant question, because we live in a culture that kind of says, our friends just say, oh, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. You can do whatever you think is right, or you can do whatever you think makes you happy. And so a lot of us kind of think, well, we don't even think about asking God for forgiveness. But here's how you can do it. So I think kind of off the bat, there's two types of people, right? You've got the one kind of person who's very casual about God's forgiveness. And they usually say things like this. They'll say, when I die, or just before I die, on my deathbed, I'll ask God for forgiveness. And I'll just say to someone like that, you haven't really understood how much your sin offends God, you're missing out on an opportunity to seek His forgiveness. And you haven't understood at what a great cost God's forgiveness has come. And then the second kind of person is someone who, almost a bit like Levi and Wednesday, for those who listen, you almost feel unworthy of God's forgiveness. And so when you're offered the opportunity to be forgiven, you kind of want to jump at that. You almost think this is unbelievable, and you're so grateful that God is willing to forgive you and give you a fresh start, because you understand how serious your relationship with God is and how serious sin is. So those are kind of two types of people I think we get. And there might be a few more, but those are the two I was thinking of. But I want to just say up front, before I kind of give you a couple of pointers, is it's very important. The Bible talks about to get our hearts right and to actually have broken and contrite hearts. And so what that means is when we ask for forgiveness, we want to make sure that we are sincere and that our sin actually bothers us and it actually even breaks us. And so if you've been in your room a couple of times crying because of your sin, I would say that's a really good place to start. Anyway, but at the same time, God doesn't want us to be stuck in our guilt or stuck in our shame or stuck in feeling worthless, okay? He wants to forgive us and He wants to get us moving. And so this is one of my favorite verses that helps me whenever I'm kind of struggling with sin or feeling rubbish about it. And it's 1 John 1:9. So I'm just going to read it to you. It's 1 John 1:9. It says, if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive us of our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. So just 3 quick things on how to ask God for forgiveness. So the first one is confess it. It says it there, confess it. So basically just come clean to God. Sit down on your bed. I would say even if you're walking to school, you can do this anytime. There isn't a particular way to do it. It's a heart thing, right? But confess it. So you want to sit with God and you want to tell God what you've done. You want to tell Him how you have disobeyed Him. Okay? And the interesting thing is that it says confess all sin. So that means all sin. So it's not just the really, really bad stuff in our eyes. It means every sin needs to be confessed to God. And I'm just saying that because sometimes we'll think this sin is super bad and this one's not so bad. So as long as I do the big things, then the small things will work them out. But little lies are just as serious in God's eyes as an addiction of sorts. So confess all sin. And what God usually does is He shows you on your heart what that sin is at that time. And so you want to listen to that. But it's a bit like being in the movies. You normally have these guys that have committed a murder and they go down to the police station and they confess. But what do? They fill out a confession in writing, and they kind of give all the details, and they're just open and honest about everything they've done. And the cops say, tell us everything, and they write down everything. And so I want to encourage you, when you confess your sin to God, is to actually be open, be honest, tell Him everything, even if it's embarrassing, even if you feel rubbish, just tell Him. Now the Bible says that God is slow to anger, and rich in mercy. So what that means is, as you tell Him, He's not going to go, oh my word, that was horrendous. I'd never thought you could do that. He's not like that. He's not shocked by it. And he'll just stay with you. And he'll listen to you. And he won't reject you when you confess your sin. Okay? So I want to encourage you to do that. Bring it into the light. You want to tell him everything, because also you don't want the devil to get a foothold. So you don't want the devil to kind of go, oh, you didn't tell God about this. Remember this? And he kind of holds on to you in a way, and he gets you stuck. He gets you stuck in that guilty, shameful, worthless place. And God doesn't want that. He doesn't want that for you. Okay? So confess it. Second bit is trust. Trust that God will forgive you. So it says that he's faithful to forgive us. So when Jesus says something, he does it. When he said to his disciples, guys, I'm going to suffer, I'm going to die on the cross, and I am going to rise again. He did it. And so when he promises something, when he does something like that, we can trust him with everything else, right? And so when he says he will forgive us, we must trust that. Don't dwell in it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't doubt it. Believe that you are now forgiven. You are forgiven. Now listen, this can get really hard because I've been in dark places and I know what it's like. Your feelings tell you different things. Your feelings tell you that you are rubbish. Your feelings tell you that you have messed up. Your feelings tell you that you are worthless. Your feelings tell you that you are really guilty of what you did. But if you've confessed it, don't go with your feelings. Trust God that you are forgiven. And over time, those feelings will actually change. Okay? The Bible says you're whiter than snow. So believe that. Okay? Trust God that you're forgiven. The third thing is trust that he will change you. Okay? So note that it says he's not only faithful to forgive you, but he's faithful to purify you from all unrighteousness. So what that means is he's not going to just stop at forgiving you. He's actually going to change you and transform you into someone who doesn't struggle with that sin anymore. He purifies you, right? He's going to pull that sin out of you because he doesn't want you to get stuck. He wants you to grow and grow in your relationship and your love for him, right? And so from the inside out, like a diamond, he's going to be polishing you and making you more pure and actually freeing you up to not struggle with those same old habits and the stuff that makes you feel rubbish. And so what happens over time is you start to have little victories over sin, right? And actually they become bigger victories until they don't even exist anymore. And the stuff you used to be addicted to, you don't even need it anymore. You don't even think about it. And the parts of you wanted to change, well, they do change. And so it's an amazing thing. He's not going to just forgive you, he's going to change you. And so it's a bit like a shoe. You stand in chewing gum and you turn it over, what do? You've got to try and get that really sticky, gooey chewing gum out of your shoe. And it might take forever. But eventually the shoe's back to what it used to look like, brand new. Okay? And that's kind of the process of what God does to us. Every time we confess to him, we can trust he forgives us, trust that he is purifying us. So that's how you can ask God for forgiveness. Get your heart right. Confess it. Tell him everything. All right? Come clean. Trust you are forgiven. And then trust that God is changing you. So guys, just to end, if you are a Jesus follower, I want to encourage you to make this a part of your daily walk with God, your daily habit. Because it means that you're leaning on Jesus. Because it means that you're rooted in him and that it's an opportunity to actually grow and be changed. And that's an awesome thing. If you're not a follower of God, but you want his forgiveness, you want to make things right with him, same thing. Go to God and just say, sorry that I've been living my own life on my own terms. Thank you that you offer me forgiveness and you paid for my sins, and ask him to help you. And trust that he's forgiven you and that he'll help you to change and live for him. Okay, cool. Hope that's helpful. Great question. An inquiring mind is a beautiful thing. So keep asking questions. Ciao. Sorry guys. It's Corona Challenge time. Put my bury there. I've got my lucky draw box. And if you remember last week, you guys had to read Matthew 5 to 7. A bunch of you did it, so well done. And so what I'm going to do now is draw out your name. Do a little shuffle. Okay. There we go. One in the corner there. And it says, woo! Alison Raju, well done. You will receive a 200 Rand iTunes voucher. I hope you love music. Guys, this week's Corona Challenge is a brilliant one. Okay, it's from Proverbs 12, and it says this in Proverbs. It says, anxiety weighs down the heart, so it makes you miserable, but a kind word cheers it up. All right, and so I want you guys this week to go and cheer people up, encourage them, tell them you care about them. All right, it starts tomorrow, which is Saturday, then Sunday, then Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday. That's 5 days. It's 3 people a day. That's 15 people you will get to cheer up. Okay, you can use your phones. You can go speak to them through Zoom, house party, face to face. However you do it, that is the challenge. And when you've done it on the Wednesday, you're going to let your leader know, and we'll put you in the next lucky draw. Okay, so go for it. Do it. All right. Now, our last little bit is we're wrapping up here, but it's time for you guys to gather in your house party groups or your little Zoom groups or small groups. And so I've just got one question for you guys to chew on and to chomp on, to chat about. The question is this: what makes forgiveness hard and or good? What makes forgiveness hard and or good? And I want to maybe challenge you to confess in your little groups things that you'd actually like God's forgiveness on, and maybe you can pray for each other. That'd be awesome. Cool. It's been awesome hanging out with you guys. We'll catch you on Wednesday. Ciao for now.